I'm Daniel Fahey, and this is a story about my life with Prestige and photography in general. I started working at Prestige in 1999 or 2000, somewhere in there. It was January. So let me stop you there I just want to talk a little bit about how I got into photography. When I was a little kid, probably about 7 years old, my grandfather was in the Air Force, and he was head of the photography division. And he'd take me all out to all his different places of like to take pictures of like the Alamo and just different areas. And he also did wedding photography. And back then, he had a huge giant camera that they would handhold, and it'd have plates that would go in the back of the camera and a flash. And so that you really had to be a dedicated photographer to do weddings with something that heavy. But when I was about 7, I traded one of my little cars, toy cars, for a camera because my grandfather was in photography. So I bought this little camera. It was about this big, and it was real film. And my grandfather said, "Great trade," and that was huge for a little 7-year-old. So from that day on, I never really thought I would be doing photography for a living because I had so many different jobs, supervisor jobs, and in the oil field industry and different, just never thought I would be in photography. But back in the 80s, 80, 81, when the oil industry fell out, I lost my job after 17 years of service. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to start all over, I'm going to do something that I'm interested in and is fun. Because I've always been a supervisor. It's like it's like being in a giant daycare center. You're supervising people all the time. So that just kind of followed me through my career. So, but yeah, so that's how I got into photography. And I first started with Olin Mills. I worked with them for a while, and then I broke off and worked with a company called Bryn Allen. And then I also worked with a photography company that was in the area that I live in, which is Katy, and it was Carew Photography. And then from there, I had a buddy that we were working together, and we broke off, and he kept calling me saying, "Hey, come to Live Touch, come to Live Touch." And I was working with Bryn Allen at the time, and I said, "Yeah, well, okay, I'll check into it." And then about a month went by, and he goes, "Come on, man, we got openings. Come work with." And so I did. I went and I interviewed and got the job. And the guy that asked me to come over, he was a supervisor in photography, and he had about 22 underclass cameras, and then he had 5 senior cameras for senior photography. And that's what I do now is work with Live Touch as a senior photographer. So anyway, we started, and then I would do a lot of the work he didn't want to do. So all the girls, at the office kept saying, "Man, don't let them do that to you. Don't let them do that to you." And I kept telling them, I said, "I'm not worried about that." I said, because I'm trying to learn the trade, And so the more I can learn by taking a lot of his work, it will be beneficial to me. And so as time went on, I ended up having more cameras and people working under me than he did, and then I became his supervisor. And so that was just a funny little story right there. But anyway, so here I am today. I've been here at Prestige LifeTouch, working for this company for 22 years, 22 seasons, and it's been a real journey. To be honest with you, it's not, I have a little bit different philosophy about taking pictures. It's not about snap and shoot. To me, it's like preserving a moment in time with people and their personalities. And I think pictures will forever be, because no matter what you do, you can open up a book, you can open up a magazine, you can look on TV. There's always pictures about different history and things that happened in the past, things that happen in the future, and things for the present. So that's always been exciting to me. The way I look at things is, this is your world. You make of it what you want. So if you have a passion for photography, I would say pursue it. Sometimes it's not always about the money, but you can make a lot of money in this business. It just depends on where you want to be and what you want to do. As far as me, I've always thought in the back of my mind, oh, one day I'm going to open my own business. When I retire, I'll have my own. And so the thing is, I've never retired. I'm 68 years old and still working for a company, because I didn't want to take that leap of faith and just hope for the best, because I started a family early. So I had a lot of responsibility, and so I wanted a steady paycheck. So I stayed with working for photography in a career for other companies. No matter what job you have in life, there's always ups and downs, and you just have to stay true to yourself and what you want in life and what you want for yourself and for others along the way. So just be happy. I started back in 2000 or 1999 in January, I think. I think it just turned 2000. So they had the old cameras with this is with LifeTouch. They had what they called the Z2 cameras. I was excited because the previous job at Brent Allen, there was a big camera like this, and it had film, 70 millimeter film, and it was a 100-foot roll, and you would attach it to the back of the camera. You would have to look into the camera, and it had a bellow on it, which you would insert diopters, also vignettes, soft focuses. You would insert that into the diopter in front of the lens. And then what excited me about the Camera-Res Z2 was that it had a zoom lens on it, and that was huge for me, because when I came from Brent Allen, you had to actually walk the camera forward, walk the camera back to get a close-up, to zoom. You didn't have a zoom in and out to be able to get a full length, a 3/4 head and shoulder or close up. So that was huge. And so was the camera. We had big, giant tripods that they sat on. You had to look at the top of the viewfinder, and it was a big square thing like this. You looked in it, and the subject would be upside down. And then your crop lines, you got used to looking at everybody upside down. After a while, you didn't even notice they were upside down. So that was. And when I trained, I would train not only to take pictures and to pose, but also how to cut the film. And we had film bags that were light proof, that you had to put your film in, fill around, cut it, and put it in a metal container, and then keep the light from exposing the negatives. When you're working with photography, you're dealing with so many different personalities. And you have some people that they're just so easy to photograph. You get a great smile out of them, and that's important. You try to capture who they are, but at the same time, you want the expressions that you're asking for. They say variety sells, and so you try to get a variety of expressions, a variety of lighting, and so that you try to capture who they are and try to make them as comfortable as possible when you're doing this, because they come in front of a camera and lights and they're very nervous. And so, and some people follow directions well, and other people you have to really work hard to get to get their personality out. Not so much what you want, but to figure out who they are. And I think by talking about them and their interest actually helps you make them relax and get better expressions. I guess that's the end of our interview. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this. Hi, I'm Daniel Fahey, and I take senior portrait photography